built up a terrible one barcode not too long ago, and
Yeah,
I like
the mid or the 2000s. What'd you call it?
it's like a
Mid-school.
it's like a
Mid-school.
mid-school
Yeah.
hybrid because it's
I
like
was geeking on that bike, dude. It was like bringing back so many memories. It's so
thank
sick. Tell
you.
us about it.
Yeah, so I, like pretty much just have my one street bike and my riding's changed a bit. I'm not bombing fucking handrails and grinding off roofs anymore.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to build a bike that felt better for park riding and for dirt jumping. Dude, I used to be a dirt rider. I won't ride dirt on my BMX bike anymore because I'm brakeless and I'm fucking sketchy. Now I just ride my mountain bike on them. So I've been like missing that feeling, and like skate parks are dope when they have the right fun little street jibs, but like I want to ride the bulls, I want to ride everything, but my bike's never been set up good for it. So I said, fuck it, I'm going to build a new bike that's good for that. I had a T1 barcode as a kid. I always sweated T1 and
Yeah.
Raj and Joe Rich. So like I found a 2017 barcode, and I wanted to build it with a perfect mix of like the old mid-school nostalgic parts that I like had as a kid or always wanted, but I didn't want it to be a tank and I wanted it to ride proper. So yeah, I built that up, and strangely enough, through like building that bike, I got addicted to mid-school bikes and collecting, and now I'm like a fucking diehard mid-school collector.
Sick.
I've got an obnoxious amount of frames and bikes that I'm collecting and building, and it all
Yeah,
started
dude.
with me building that one bike.
When you posted that one, I'm zooming in on my phone, like looking at, like, oh my God, I remember. But was it, I think it was, you put power bites on it, the
Yep.
cranks?
Yeah, it's
Yep.
got power bites like McNeil bash guard sprocket, like the
So
T1
sick.
pegs, the ramp pegs, like I hit all the nostalgic feels with that.
Yeah.
And
So sick, dude.
and
I
that was the
love it.
goal, because I'm like, man, like I cherish and miss those mid-school days of BMX. Like mid-school is generally like 1992 to 2005 is like what they'd call mid-school. And like for me, like the videos I watched the most, the riders that inspired me the most, like that's the time frame that I'm like most you know,
Nostalgic for.
yeah, nostalgic to,
Yeah.
and relates to me the most. So
Because that's when you're in your impressionable years. I feel like from, like age 10 until 16 or 18, you're like, everything is so sick, whatever you're getting into. And I remember scrolling through Dance Comp and just geeking out over bike parts, which I would never do now. Like I don't care about,
oh yeah,
looking at new bike parts. But yeah, I remember being so stoked on just the actual bike. Now I don't care. It's like a tool, but
for
it's cool you
sure.
found that passion to like get into collecting them. How many have you built up at this point?
Well, I haven't actually built any of them yet. I've like compiled, I've got all the parts, I've gotten frames painted, I got new decals, like I have them all ready to build, but I've been waiting. I just moved into a new house. So I'm gonna start that. But all my friends are gonna make fun of me because I told them when I started, I'm like, I'm only building 5 bikes, like the 5 like special bikes that I had as a kid or I always wanted. And now it's spiraled a bit. Um, but
Spiral.
uh, it'll probably be like 10 bikes that I build that are like, super special. Like I either had one as a kid and I've repainted and decaled and built it exactly how I had it, or it's the bike that like my homie had that I never got or something like that. So I'm
Dope.
just like, it's fun, man. I love it. Like I'm hunting around online trying to find all these parts and the right stickers, and like networking with all these people and connecting with old BMX homies that maybe we haven't really like talked much about, but like now we're like chatting again, and I'm buying old bikes off of them or whatever. It's been fun, man. I love BMX so much, and it's cool to tap into this whole other side of like it's
Just
not
being a
like
collector.
industry side, it's like just a bunch of other people that are really passionate about this, but like
Yeah.
they're not like sponsored. Like some of them are, it's cool to come across some names of dudes that like were, super legendary, and now they're like Shad Johnson, obviously like big time
Yeah, yeah.
and all that. But it's like, a lot of these dudes are just like about BMX because they love it, and they weren't like sponsored riders or pro riders. But it's
I just
cool to
love
like
it.
connect with all these different sides of BMX now that I've been kind of in all of them, like over
Yeah.
the years.
Is there a white whale of yours that there's a part or a frame or a sticker or something that you just can't find?
There's one frame that's really high. I call it my unicorn frame. It's a 1998 Terrible One barcode. There's only 100 of them made by Spooky Dave, who's like famous, well-known welder back in the day. He did like the first runs of like kink frames, some metal frames, T1 frames, and maybe a couple others, but no one wants to get rid of it. Like if you have one, like you're
Yeah.
keeping it.
It's
But
like a
I've
Pokemon card, dude. It's
yeah,
like
yeah.
my
But I've been
holographic
like tracking
Charizard.
tracking down these other really, really rare frames to trade for that. So I'm confident I'm gonna fucking get one. But
Hell yeah.
um yeah, that's definitely my unicorn frame. But a frame that I never would have ever imagined that somehow I have is this guy, which some people might recognize, but it's, well, you need to see this side. It's Taj's
Oh
actual
shit.
frame that he paint. This is the last Hoffman frame that he rode, his Taj frame in '97 before he started Terrible One, and he painted this, hand painted this on here, counting down to what
Yeah.
would have been T1. So this is literally the frame that was like the first
Whoa.
like iconology like that led to the start of Terrible One. So like for me, as like a diehard Taj fan, Terrible One fan, I had a Hoffman Flash which he rode for a little bit, which has the same like kind of wishbone design. Like it's the craziest thing ever that like
That's
he gave me
special.
the frame, and it's one of the most historic like frames that I would consider in mid-school BMX for anybody that's into Taj or T1 or anything. So
That's
I'm
super
gonna build
dope.
that bike up exactly how he wrote it, and that's gonna be a very fun project. But
Fuck yeah, dude. That's amazing.
yeah,
Man. I'm looking at it and this is before integrated what's it called? Integrated headset
yep.
in the frame. Like you gotta get the dude, it makes me think of like King headsets,
Oh yeah,
all that shit, dude. It's
those are the
trippy.
sickest ones. They're still really fucking expensive.
Yeah, they're the shit. And then profile stuff. Yeah,
Oh
man.
yeah, yeah.
That's
All that. That's
badass.
like, dude. The stuff that's the most popular and is the dopest is like all the old American made, like all the old S&M stuff, all the old standard stuff, T1, like Hoffman, like everything American made from back in the day is like,
It's the
it's
shit.
funny, like without knowing, I had really good fucking taste as a kid. Like all the stuff that I had or wanted is now like, fucking what, 20 years, 25, or no, I guess, yeah, up to like 25 years later, it's still the dopest, like most desirable stuff. So it's
That's
it's funny
dope.
to think I'm like trying to track down this old shit. I'm like, damn, like why is this stuff so expensive? I'm like, fuck,
You
it's
like
like
the good
aged,
shit, man. You
it's
had a good
aged
eye.
well, yeah.
Reached the end of the video. Hopefully you enjoyed that clip. If you want to support me and the podcast, just subscribe and share the show with your friends. The full episode is in the description. So if you haven't, go check that out. It's also available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and wherever you listen to podcasts. And the goal is just to grow. So if you could share the show with your BMX homies, that'd be dope. If anybody that you know that is a BMX nerd and would enjoy this podcast, do me that favor and we'll keep all these clips coming and one episode every week. So I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.